Welcome to PAO Fans International. You've got Nick, Panatha Fan, and we do have a special guest all the way from UK and first time appearance. He's been on our spaces before, but welcome Chris, the Arxontas.
What's up, guys? Thank you for having me on. Very excited for this one. Lots of good news to talk about for once in both sports, which feels really weird. So we're blessed. But yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, we're honored to have Chris, our one of our youngsters in our chat, full of old Yeti, to give his perspective as well. He watches a lot of bowl, especially knowledgeable on the bowl BC side, so we'll be able to give more intake than what the Aussies do on the basketball side of things. Let's kick things off with bowl. In the cup game, we played the first leg against Olympiacos. Played a 1-1 draw. Jurisic scored in the 51st minute. It was off a loose pass by Paskalakis straight to Jurisic, who then pretty much had an easy job of placing it in the net. And then Yaremchuk equalised in the 75th after good individual skill to beat Ingerson. And then from an angle, just put it between Lodigan's legs. Fellas, let's go straight away with Chris as well. How did you see this cup game, the first leg?
Um, it was a weird game because I feel we actually had more chances than that. Like we had quite a few good chances when you look back at it to score and stuff. And I feel it was an interesting game because we obviously were missing Unai, we were missing Jedvai and stuff. So that was the first time in a while we were without them. So it was kind of like interesting to see us set up a little bit differently, perhaps. Am I correct in saying Foti didn't start either?
No, he did
He
start.
started. He
He
started.
started. All right.
Arao,
Okay.
Arao and Vayanidis didn't start,
All right.
and
Okay. I remember. Yeah.
obviously Dragovski.
Yeah. Okay. We know what happened there. But yeah, no. Vayanidis, I was gonna say. Yeah, he was. It seemed like a big miss to be completely honest. Kotsiras just doesn't have the legs anymore at all. It's quite worrying. But no. I mean, look, we profited off a very bad mistake. Good finish from Jurisic. We were defending okay, I thought, but I mean, I know we were like discussing it in the chat. I think Ingerson has to be better there. He overcommitted, to be completely honest with me. You've got to, he wasn't close enough to like Yaremchuk. He was the wrong side of him. Yaremchuk's right footed, so he's obviously going to want to go to that side more. He just beat him so easily. And then I don't even want to get into the goalkeeping. As a goalkeeper, you cannot be beaten through your legs. That's just like a number one rule, in my opinion. Like, it was too easy. And then obviously, apart from that, we had chances there, late chances. You had that VAR drama at the last minute. With it looked way offside to me, but I don't know, seemed quite close apparently. But overall, to be honest with you, not too unhappy with the draw. We were missing a few players. Um, we've beaten them at Kariskakis before. We can win in overtime or penalties or something if needed to be. I'm confident we'll get at least a draw in the second game, but 1-1, you know what? It's fine. We've been there before. Yeah, a bit disappointing because we went up 1-0, but we rectified that against Ajax and won. So, you know what? It's okay. I think draw was the fair result, to be honest.
Nick, how do you see it?
Look, not much else to add there. Really, two goals in this game, both coming directly from goalkeeping howlers, especially their one. But then even ours. I mean, as Chris was saying, no keeper should be beaten from that angle in those circumstances, and exactly the way it transpired. Really poor from the digging because I thought we had a handy backup all this time, but that was just unforgivable. Overall, I thought we were the better side. I don't know how Mancini missed what he missed after when it was 1-1. That was the game right then and there for us. He scores that, our chances of the progressy increase tenfold, I think. But look, still all to play for. As Chris said, we've done it before. There's no reason why we can't do it again. For a neutral, this wasn't a good game on both sides rotated. As we said, we were missing a few. I think we're going to take the second leg more seriously. So will they. And I think we're going to see a bit more of an open game. The league game, which we're going to preview, obviously, I think that's going to be more of a tactical, like a chess battle, and neither side's going to want to lose it, whereas the cup's going to be more open, I think. Um, Palmer Brown came on, and we're going to touch on him later on as well, but he acquitted himself nicely. Other than that, yeah, not much really was there in this game. And that offside, that was like a meter offside. And then they're blowing up saying you can't believe it wasn't a penalty.
Well, I don't think we ever saw the penalty incident clearly to be 100% on it for a start, but it's irrelevant. The reality is he was well offside, and I don't think El Kabi was too upset over it either, if I recall correctly. So that's just a
No.
figment of their imagination, as far as I'm concerned.
He also told the Aussie player that he was offside. He was well aware.
Yes. A
Yeah.
meter off, at least a meter.
Yeah, so it's
Velda was the guy who was going crazy the whole game. He was appealing for absolutely everything when he came on. I was shocked. It was like theatrical.
Yeah. Well, there was a group in America that compared him to Tete. So you can probably see why Velde thinks he's as good, when you got biased, uninformed guys trying to, compare him to Tete. But yeah, that's another story. He's just obviously an average player trying to, make himself, position and big for Olympiacos. But sorry, but Panatha fan.
No, no, no. The only thing I was going to say though is that the tactics that um, Victoria employed, which we've seen subsequent to that, and we'll talk about a bit more, was happy to give a little bit more possession away in order then to be able to hit on a counter and be able to be more effective in defending as well. And I think that I think we were the better team, although we didn't dominate with chances, but certainly I think had the edge as far as I was concerned.
Yeah, yeah, and Nick, you did say the good point. Forty did, regarding Mancini, Forty did have that good shot on his weaker foot.
That
Forced,
was brilliant.
yeah, forced a very good save initially from Pascalakis. He's on the floor. Mancini had the whole net, and it was on his weaker foot. You can make excuses for that, but a player of that professional, that kind of level, you got to be scoring from there. He hit
The
it,
thing is,
and
Stu,
he's made a double save to get to it. He made him look very good. That should have been the game there.
he's got a track record, Mancini. Ike again, a few days later, horrible miss, albeit not as bad as that one. And last season, the world publicised one Braga.
Well,
No, I think he scored against Braga, didn't he?
Yeah,
Sporar was the
Was a
terrible
Sporar.
miss.
Bora missed.
Mm.
Yeah,
Well, he's missed two sitters in the space of a few days then, Mancini.
yeah.
I think he's been renowned for his inability to score goals. I think that he's been his weakness for some time, and it's not going to get any better.
No, I think he's playing on really low confidence. I think he's getting booed by the fans. There's no doubt he's aware that the fans have turned on him a bit. The Grignes have started on him when he comes on. You can just see it on social media, in the crowd as well when he comes on. He's obviously there for the press, for the speed. He's got speed to burn. Um, but yeah, he's just been not good enough, especially with his shooting boots. That's the main thing. He's got himself into positions. He did create for Jeremy Jeff. Can't remember which game, which he assisted the 1-0. Was maybe Calithea when that goal there for Jeremy Jeff. But apart from that, his contributions have been pretty ordinary. But regarding the game, I agree. I thought we were in an arm wrestle. We did have the slight advantage. We did have the better opportunities. And it's hard to judge a game like that when both teams rotated. So you don't know how teams, would have played each other, especially Rui Vitória, who's, in the league, he's 2-0 in the derbies. Now in the cup, he's got the draw, but, both teams heavily rotated. The big test when we preview the game will be the upcoming derby. So overall, I thought draw favors Olympiacos in terms of they'd be much happier with that result as compared to us, but there's no away goal rule. So we did knock them out in Karaiskaki or in their home ground last season. So quite possible that we can do it again. I'd say whoever wins this tie goes on to win the cup.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was with Arcadin at striker. We knocked them out last season.
Yeah. Memories. Now
Bad memories.
Yeah.
Now the next game is the Athenian Derby or the Athens Derby, where Panathinaikos defeated AEK 1-0, courtesy of Ioannidis penalty, 38th minute. A lot of drama in this one. A lot of drama. A lot at stake as well, considering ladder position. If we had lost that, we would have been about, 7 points behind Olympiacos. So we did get the win. We did keep in touch with Olympiacos. We did overtake AEK as well on the ladder. Let's hear your thoughts, boys. Chris, again, kick us off. How did you see the game?
Um, a little bit similar to Olympiacos in some ways because I think Vitoria's game plan was absolutely perfect. He smashed it on the head here. We let them have possession and stuff. They also, I think, a key thing with this game was, in my opinion, not having Piero on. I think Piero would have suited this game better than Martial because um we didn't mind them going wide a lot because then they couldn't really cross the ball in as much. They didn't have someone in the middle with as much aerial threat. But lots of drama. In the first half it was quite bland, and then Dragowski does something which is a little bit silly. I think we're lucky that we didn't get penalised for that. Then obviously Strakosha takes out Palistri, win the penalty. Good penalty from Foti. And then we should have made it 2-0 right after that, to be completely honest. So we finished the half relatively strong, I would say. And then look, if you look at the second half, to be completely honest, I think we were the far better side. I mean, they had the ball more, but we had so many chances. We had initially, I thought, all right, yeah, Foti, he handballed it, fine. But when you look at it, actually, again, it comes off his shoulder onto Rota's arm and then back to Foti. That was a clear goal, in my opinion. And, Foti, he's playing with so much confidence right now. And I'm so happy about that because we're going to need him to be playing his best if we're going to want to go and win the title and playing our best football in Europe, in the Greek league. So he was great. Overall, though, Palistri, fantastic performance. I was very happy when I saw him in the starting lineup at first. I had a feeling he was going to have a big performance because he's been playing very well lately. But you know what? Overall, we played well. We stuck to the game plan. I saw Fouz was very happy at the end. I don't know if you guys saw the video of him going up to Rui going, excellent game there. It was a funny one. But overall, good performance. Good to beat AEK as usual in a derby. And yeah, to be honest, I'm happy with that.
Can I jump in there and say, Chris, there's a reason why we call you the Arxontas, because I think you nailed many points there. And I'm glad you mentioned Fouz being part of the highlight reel in the YouTube clips. Like how the hell he's managed to squeeze himself into a highlight clip of a match. It defies logic, but anyway. But I think you're right in that. Certainly, Victoria again read the script, played to the strengths of the team versus AEK. I mean, yeah, they dominated possession in the first half. The first half hour, I think we did absolutely nothing in terms of creating chances, but we had the better chances. Penalty is ours, and I 100% agree with you on the second goal. If you look closer, it looks like it does bounce off the elbow of the AEK defender back onto Foti. So I thought the replay wasn't clear enough to disallow it. And if I go back to the Dragowski penalty, when I first saw it, I thought, yep, that should have been a penalty. But after further review, I think that there was an infringement by Vida on Dragowski in terms of a foul on him, which caused him to spill the ball. So, in my view, that's probably why it wasn't given. VAR didn't rule it, because VAR would have seen it as a foul on him first, and it cancelled it out.
But my take on it is that they didn't call the foul on Dragowski. they called it a corner for Ike.
They could, no, they could, yeah, they did 100%. What I'm saying is though that if they were to go back on a review and call penalty, they would have had to call the foul on Dragowski first, which then would have cancelled out the penalty as well. So the VAR, just looking at it, in my opinion, would have said, look, we can't give a penalty if there's a foul on him first. So let's just let it go for a corner. That's how I saw it.
Nick, how do you see the game?
The game as a whole, I think Chris nailed it. We were the better side. That man in Panatha Fan's background there, absolutely doing a fantastic job. We couldn't have asked for much better, really. He's only dropped points in 2 games in the league. Our last loss in the league came to Ike away. That was in like September. So Victoria has done a great job transforming us almost instantly since he's come in. Tactics spot on, gave Ike the ball. Barely they couldn't lay a glove on us. We've now played on this side of the new year. We're in still what? Mid-January, late January. We've played PAO, Olympiacos in the Cup, and Ike. The 3 big rivals. You can count on one hand the amount of chances we've given the opposition combined on one hand. So fantastic job. Defense now much more organised. Palmer Brown, sensational. Ingerson also solid. I agree with Chris and yourself, Sterg. Dragovski's playing with fire, and this is fresh of him coming back from a suspension. He's got to be better. He never had this in his game. It was a simple take, then he fumbles it, and he gets sucked into that. Look, I think goalkeepers these days get too much. They get afforded too much protection. I don't really think what Vida did to him should even be penalised. That's the other side to that. But then we were robbed, I think, of a fair goal in the second half. So it sort of cancels each other out. What gets me with the disallowed 42nd goal was the ref, when he was called over to the monitor, had one look and he instantly overturned it. Like, how? I've seen it in just fast motion a few times and I can't see anything wrong with it. So and I thought the ref overall was poor in this one. Well, we had 3 guys yellow carded inside the first 10, 15 minutes. They're all for first time fouls as well. Like, what was he trying to prove, really? Trying to make it all about himself. I thought Pelistri was our man of the match in this game. Vayanidis was great. Aral was very good. Both centre backs as well. But with Pelistri, you get that burst of speed, you get that acceleration, and he's very direct. And that penalty that we won was a lazy back pass, aimless back pass from Jonsson, and he was on it like a flash. And I called our starting 11 pre-game. I got it 1 to 11 spot on, and he had to include, as Chris said, he had to include Pelistri because when he plays on that right wing, he is absolutely sensational. He gives us something. Honestly, he gives us something at the moment no other team of the big 4 in Greece have. Our wingers just, Tete and Pelistri, they take us to the next level. But both of them have been sensational additions, and he was a constant threat to him, and Vayanidis as well. If anything was going to come for us in this game, it was going to be from one of those 2 getting in behind Ike's back line. We saw in the first half Vayanidis and Aral, the 1-2 that he created for himself. Nice touch to see him get the armband at the end as well. Vayanidis and the crowd chanting his name. And the players after that got a well-deserved 2-day rest, so no training. I think yesterday, today, and it looks like they're going to be back tomorrow. The only thing I will say, the final thing I'll say about this game is I can't believe Lamela missed what he missed. I didn't threaten us at all and it was pretty comfortable for us, but I stopped breathing. That split second, I thought that was goal bound, that header.
And should have been. There's no question about it.
Yeah. This was a pretty interesting match. I think this match just shows the versatility of Rui Vitoria's coaching. He's a coach that likes to, as he said himself, boss the game. I didn't see really us bossing the game. What he did was allowed Ike to have the ball and see what they can do. They didn't really create that. Only that Lamela chance right at the death was their only real opportunity inside the box. Everything else came from outside the box. So that kind of showed I can't do much if you just let them play with the ball. They're a really good counter-attacking team and high-press team, but outside of that, creating everything like that, they just they didn't do anything. Uh, for me, I really believe that's a Stonewall penalty. I do agree with Nick. I don't think there was much in it from Vida to Dragowski. I thought after his ZS brain snap, he could have, you know, just just be a bit wary. And he just went for. We had another brain snap moment, in my opinion, and we were very, very lucky. The penalty, Palishi was just smart, quick to react. The only one really to react on that loose ball, clear penalty. It should have not even had a second look by VAR when they paused to quickly have another look. It was just so clear. And then the second goal, clear goal. We were robbed of a clear second goal. The the ball came off Forty's arm. There was no nudge. Rota misread the pass or the poor defensive clearance. He overran it, had his back to the ball, and yeah, whether they gave it for the handball or for the push, there was no handball by Forty. Came off his shoulder for starters. So um, I thought that was very poor. We saw very poor officiating. You saw the grabs, Forty getting grabbed a fair bit, not getting calls, and it was just yeah. I can't really have a whole lot of complaints apart from the penalty, but they seem to get a lot of the calls. Like referee giving us three yellows in the first 10, 15 minutes and took them for how long to get them, their first when they were just constantly fouling. Um, you know, their first yellow actually came to Almeida, funny enough, for his constant complaining. So,
He's out the door now, isn't he? Pretty much, they're saying.
yeah, there's room
Close, close.
game may have been his last, but um, the game itself, yeah, I really liked what Victoria, how he showed his versatility. Like, you don't want to watch a game where we barely have the ball. That's, not really fun. It is a derby at the end of the day. Derbies are not pretty. Derbies are not there for a side to dominate. Derbies are always tough. It's the team that wants it more will get the win. So they'll play at their own pace and do everything to win. We've seen that over and over again. They're never quite the spectacle. So 3 points was the main part. What I did like, obviously, Pelistri gave it his all. He was buggered walking off, got the fans applauding him. Vainidis, for me, I thought he was the standout player overall. Um, very well defensively. And then Captain America himself, Eric Palmer Brown, played the full game, and was just a menace. He just dominated Levi Garcia. Marcial did nothing. He
Piero.
Yeah, and you just see Forty speak highly post game about Palmer Brown. I think that is a good problem to have there, having an extra defender. That's something that we've been calling out that we need to sign a defender. He may have solved that himself. I
Yep.
don't know if I agree with Adult playing good. There was a few easy and careless passes that he did give away. There was at least two or three simple, careless passes that he gave away, which was quite frustrating as well. So I don't know if I enjoyed what I saw from him too much. Um, I thought Maximovic was very good. We're seeing Maximovic being the quiet achiever, the workhorse in that middle now, doing a lot of the running, a lot of that short passes, similar to the Cheron type role, but Cheron's more of that ball player, while you see Maximovic doing a lot more of the dirty and the hard work. And he's very effective in that as well. So very happy with how Maxi played. Forty's looking like he's returning back to that top form. I think I said it earlier on in the season. He just needs time. He needs those breaks coming from those injuries, the no, preseason, anything like that. It looks like he's pretty much at his peak now, and he was robbed of a double. But overall, very, very proud of the performance. We do come away with 3 points, and yeah, we do have now again one of the biggest matches for us on the calendar now. Was the league table stands at we're second, 4 points behind Olympiacos, and we're going to bring you now to the next item, which will be Panathinaikos Olympiacos. Away we play them. Now this game obviously is has a lot riding on it. It's quite simple. We lose, we're 7 points behind. I think the damage in the league at that point may have been done. They do have to travel to and play Ike in near Philadelphia, and they do play PAOK at Tumba, but not at Tumba, sorry, at Kariskaki. But PAOK do seem to have a better away record against Olympiacos playing in Kariskaki as compared to Tumba, as we've seen recently. Historically, those two teams play better away when they play each other. So they don't have it too easy, but I think 7 points at this stage is a big ask to close the gap. Is there
100%.
is there anything you boys say about this upcoming game?
Yeah. Honestly, I think, again, we're not going to know until everything, all the talking from both sides is going to be on the pitch. But the fact that we have a full week's rest and recovery and Victoria finally gets a full week to prepare for a big derby is going to be huge for us, especially when you compare it to them. They've got a tough game against the Porto side in Portugal that's just sacked their coach. And they need a result in that one. They can't lose, so they'll need at minimum a draw there. And they haven't got a squad as big as us this season for the first time in a very long time. They've also got a lot of young players. How long can they keep going? I think that plays right into our hands.
Yeah, the young players seem to have been bailing them out a lot. Kosulas, Mr. Kivis.
So how long though?
They're playing very well. Yeah, you're
They
right.
are. They are.
Yeah, the Porto game that you're talking about has big ramifications because both teams are in that bottom part of that Europa League table where they're just got enough at the moment to progress where they're currently sitting. But a loss for either team is putting them in real deep trouble. So both teams really need to play for the win. And Porto, from what I'm following in the Portuguese league, thanks to a couple of my Portuguese friends, are starting to play well after a very slow start to the season.
They just sacked their coach though.
I think not as of the weekend, was it? I think a few weeks ago.
Let me check. I swear it was the last 24 hours, a week or something. Let's have a look.
To be honest, I don't really care what they do against Porto, win, lose, or draw. I just
Yeah,
hope they're tired after it.
But
But
yeah,
hang on. Vitor Bruno, when was this? 18 hours ago.
oh, interesting.
So really,
1 day ago.
I think Chris makes a good point. Win, lose, or draw over there is relevant for us. But for me, I'm hoping that they take that game more seriously and that they are a little bit more comfortable having that 4-point cushion over us, where they do prioritise the Europa League game. And from memory, I think they're fairly safe in terms of making the top 24.
But they want to be seeded.
They want to be seeded, correct?
So that's why they need a result for that very reason.
I'll be real. I don't know. I have a feeling they're gonna take our game more seriously. If I'm being completely honest with you, Olympiacos, they're gonna definitely play a good team, but I don't think they're gonna play their strong. I think they're gonna. If you said to Olympiacos, okay, I'm not gonna say to a fan because I think we know what they'd say, but to them in general, all right, would you rather beat Porto or us? I think they choose us because I think if they beat us, it's over. If I'm being completely honest, I think 7 points, you don't come back from that. I'd almost argue it's a must-win game for us.
Yeah,
No, we need a result. I think we need a result. If we can escape the month of January with all our derbies out of the way, if we can escape with just a 4-point gap, I think we're okay.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think a draw is going to be that bad a result.
Regarding their table, they're sitting only 2 points clear of 25th position, so they're in a bit of danger.
Porto or Olympiacos?
Olympiacos, Porto,
Okay.
1 point.
Okay.
Both teams need to win that Europa League tie, essentially. But, they will take both games seriously. I can't see them taking both games. Whether they can recover well and back it up in Greece, that's on them. And I agree. I don't think a draw is a catastrophic result. I think I think we can manage with a draw. If yeah, obviously we hope for a win, but a draw is nowhere near catastrophic considering that they've got two more derbies to play, and we've played all our derbies. A loss though is where it gets very a lot of issues, obviously. So we have to obviously be cautious in this. I think we might see a similar 11. I think we're going to see a very similar 11
Mm.
to what we played against AEK because Pelistri gave a lot of trouble to it was Heze, I think, the left back or whoever.
Major Safi.
Yeah, whoever the left back is, he gave them in that cup game. As soon as he came on,
Oh, you're saying Olympiacos. Sorry.
yeah,
I thought you meant Ike.
no, the Olympiacos left back. Um, what
Kini.
it was the South American left back, whatever they got. Um, he gave him a lot of trouble when he came on because Tete started that game, then Pelicio came on and instantly was giving him trouble. I think he even forced him to get a yellow card in that one as well, just because of Pelicio. Pelicio was just playing well as soon as he came on, instant impact. Ortega, that's it.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, so
You're right in what you say. The 11 now, more or less, out of 9, 10 spots out of the 11 now essentially pick themselves. Now, which is good. That means we've got players in form. They deserve their place in the team. Bakasetas, for me, really has to step up. We had a great week as a team overall, but he didn't. So again, he's got to step up in this game because we're going to touch on Ounahi. There was a good talking point in the chat yesterday. What do we do with Yedvay if he's fit?
yeah, and that's where
That's the other contentious one. That's it. Other than that, we know more or less.
And that's where I was going to head with this. It looks like we might see a very similar 11 to 8, but depending the fitness of the players. Now,
Yeah.
is going to rely on if Jedvai is match fit as well. He's coming off that calf strain that he picked up. Um, for me, I think he starts. As much as EPB played well, Eric Palmer Brown played well against AEK. I think Tin Yedvay is your starting player. Against Olympiacos, you won't need to rely on speed as much compared to what you have to do with AEK. You need probably more of that aggression that he offers over EPB. Um, and he's your starter. For me, Yedvay is the starter until EPB can prove it more on the consistent, get himself playing regular games. You're not going to give EPB a starting berth just over one good game in the Athenian Derby. It doesn't work like that. You've got to get the playing and the coaching stuff trust to get that starting job. I don't think EPB gets that starting role if Yedvay is 100% fit.
A good alternative if he's not fit. From what it looks like for now. Like he had a very good game against AEK, but also another thing that Vittoria will take into account because he's a clever manager. We were arguing, obviously saying, all right, well, if he advised fit, could you still play EPB? But has EPB played against Olympiacos yet in an atmosphere like that as well? I think you've got to take that into consideration. That's a really big game. I'm not saying the AEK game wasn't, but it's going to be more hostile there naturally because we're away from home. It's going to be sold out. And he's also going to be facing El Cambi, who's, a very, very good striker. So I think that's something you need to take into account because if you think about it, Yedvay is normally El Cambi hasn't really scored against us, I think, touch wood. I don't think he's actually, if I'm not wrong in saying that, but I think Yedvay's fit, you have to start him. Simple. He's a starting centre back. You can't just throw out EPB in there just because he had one good game. Doesn't work like that, in my opinion.
Yedvay is weak on headers. That's his weakness. I think the man-on-man aspect of it, I'm okay with. But the question I then asked, does Olympiacos score from the wingers cross it in and El Kabi heading the ball, or is he more getting through balls and taking players on or being a goal poacher? So you think that he scores from headers as well? Because if that's the
Yeah, he
case,
does.
and I'm not informed on that, so I welcome your input there. Because I think that's Yedvai's weakness. Whereas Palmer Brown, I agree with Sturge. You wouldn't start him over one good game, but his height and his strength on the ball is probably better than Yedvai when it comes to headers and clearances.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. Personally, I would think Gedvay just gets the job, provided he's fit, on the basis that historically he's shown up and played well against Olympiacos, and you kind of need more of his aggression in that kind of game. Yeah, and you have to look historically at it. El Kabi hasn't really done, and knock on wood, a whole lot against Panathinaikos. So you play with Gedvay based on that consistency as well. You're right, he's not as good in the air, but it's worked.
He had one training session before Ike. Obviously, that was never going to be enough to get in the starting side. He didn't come on off the bench, so let's see how he does in training this week. And only Victoria's going to know ultimately.
But I think that ultimately, though, as a team, we defend better, and we don't rely on individual defenders to save us. Well, in the way Victoria plays, and that's why I love him as a coach from what he's done so far.
Yeah, when you look at our individual centre backs, they're not special. Like, if I'm being for real, like if you look back to the Jovanovic days, Magnuson and Schenkerfeld were probably the two best centre backs in the league at the time. Ingerson, and I'll be completely honest, Ingerson's average to me. I don't think he's anything special. I think who knows? Even if EPP could take his place if he keeps playing like this. And Jedvai has a lot of mistakes in him. To be honest, I've never been his biggest fan. Like, he's good, but then when you take Mladenovic into the picture as well, you wonder how we're actually not conceding as many goals. So yeah, as you said, Panatha Fan, big kudos to Vittorio though.
I think Ingerson has been a quiet achiever. I think we're expecting great, great things from him, but I think he's been a strong body in that defense. Something that we've probably kind of lacked. While we've got the get by aggression, I think we haven't had that guy that's putting his body on the line, like bringing the grit to the team as well, and bringing that leadership. I think he's been all right, Ingerson. I don't think he's been too bad overall. I think we're expecting a whole lot more, but I think he's done the job.
I think you hit the nail on the head. We're expecting a whole lot more, and I think that's the expectation we had when he was first signed as well. So you're right; he hasn't been bad overall. The
Yeah.
other thing, though, that Sturge you've called out, and I think Maximovic and the contribution he makes on the field, and that I've seen some of the plays where he hustles and really puts pressure on players that others wouldn't in the past, and he's turned into a legendary player in terms of what he's contributing on the field for us.
Yeah. And just before I'm going to touch on Maximovic now, but Ingerson's part of the best defense in the Greek league as
Yep.
well.
Yep.
Yeah, he's done his job. If you look at it at that point, at this current stage, we got the best defense in the league. But yeah, Maximovic is giving, and I'm going to give high praise here, Gilberto Silva vibes when we brought him in. There's very much Gilberto Silva vibes with what he's brought into that midfield, that holding that between the midfield and the defense. And we're going to go to the next topic with what Nick mentioned, Ounahi. Now, Ounahi came off against Otromitos in the cup game with what looked like an innocent injury. He did that turnover, um, which led to their goal, but came off with a back injury, or what appeared to be a back injury. Now, when I looked at that play, I didn't think there was anything in it. I thought he looked like he was making an excuse, and he made a mistake and he just came off. I thought at that time, I didn't think there was too much in it. Then we saw that he was out and injured, and there was obviously a few question marks, but he didn't even make the bench versus Ake. Now allegations. There's rumors circulating that he has asked not to be included in the match squad, um, due to potentially a move to Saudi Arabia. There may have been Saudi Arabia interest in him, and he's edging towards a move there. Now, I don't know how accurate that is. It's obviously circulating that um, he does want out. We don't know what the loan clause is that we have with Marseille, because they would have the final say. We can't just say you can go. It all be dependent on Marseille. So that is obviously something that needs monitoring more. Let's see if he's training, if he's even back. He's not much of a social media person either to see um, giving any clues, anything like that. Like I said, I thought initially when he went down, it was fairly innocent. Um, that's obviously a story that we've got about 10 days still to look at.
The latest, and these are all, as you said, there were only allegations. The latest was that the Saudi Arabia thing's not going to happen. But again, there's still, as you said, there's 10 days. The other thing was Victoria didn't fully trust him. He didn't like his commitment, and he didn't trust him to put his body on the line the way someone like Bakasetas would in a derby. That was the other thing. He sees him more as an impact player, game changer, and Ounahi sees himself as the main man, as a starter. And there's again all alleged, or hearsay, alleged clash of opinions there.
I don't know if I would, if that is true, agree with Rui there on that case, to be completely honest. He's got way more quality as a player than Bakasetas, especially now. And the way he just like goes into like little pockets of space and stuff, he's a key player for us. And I would be absolutely gutted if he left now. I'd be gutted. I think it would take us down a slight level, to be completely honest, in some ways. I think he's a really key player. And I hope these rumors are not true, because I just got him on the back of my shirt as well. So they better not be true. But me and Panatha Fan, we said, I remember when we were watching the Athromitos game, when he went down, we both had a feeling that it was a little bit more than just a impact thing, and it could have been a more muscular issue. And I like giving people the benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt here that he is injured, and I'm hoping that obviously these rumors are not true, and that we're going to see him this weekend against Olympiacos, because I think we're going to need him, to be completely honest, because as we were talking about that that game, I think derbies, they're very cagey. A 0-0 is on the cards here, and having an impact player like that could, you could steal it late or something like that.
That's the thing, and that's what you just said, impact, and he did it against Bulk with a late goal, and that's what Victoria, again, all allegedly, that's what he allegedly sees him as an impact sub in derbies. Again, a key word I'll keep emphasizing, alleged. As you guys have said, I fully agree. I really hope they sort their differences out. If it's true, if I'm a betting man, I'm leaning towards it happening, and we see him in the squad. I don't think he's going to start against Olympiacos, but I think we'll see him in the squad and on the bench. And then over time, slowly, he'll be reintegrated properly.
And back to your point, Nick, I do agree with you. I think there's a difference between what he offers compared to what Bakasetas offers.
There is.
They play in somewhat different positions. I think Ounahi sits a little bit more deeper in the midfield, not as high up as Bakasetas, but he's more of a ball player. He won't offer you a whole lot that dirty work, especially defensively. You say Bakasetas gets stuck in there defensively. He does a lot of dirty work, a lot of dirty tackles. He makes those necessary dirty tackles. So Bakasetas does have a role to play. And for me, Bakasetas can be either one of the best players on the pitch or one of the worst players on the pitch. Because with him, all it takes with Bakasetas is one moment. He can strike it from outside the box He can take free kicks. He can be a threat like that. So, and that's the frustrating thing about Bakasetas because you know he's got that one moment in him, and it's just not as consistent. But I think Bakasetas does show those leadership qualities on the field as well. That's the big thing what Bakasetas brings to the team that Ounahi doesn't. I think there's more of a selfish element to Ounahi's game. He's a quality player. Like you can see it when he's turned on, he's turned on. I think it was in the cup game where or was it against Bulk? Against Bulk where with those dribbles that he was doing because he got fired up. So it took him a bit to switch on to do that. While Bakasetas, he's always fully focused. His mind's on the game. Um, so I kind of, I'd love to see Ounahi stay, but you know, we've got 10 days. Let's see which rumor and which isn't true. We're in the silly season at the moment. We're in the transfer talk where papers are going to try and sell everything. News media just wants clickbait. Everyone's just trying to start a rumor or anything. Some are are spot on. Some are completely wrong. Let's hope this is more in the wrong bucket.
Definitely.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's been any overseas media reports about him going anywhere, has there? So this is all coming from within Greece, unless I've missed something.
Akala, then it's definitely not true if it's coming from Greece.
There hasn't been anything in the Moroccan or anything in the
Yeah.
French. When I've been just trying to scour social media, anything like that. Um, I've not seen anything to suggest otherwise that there's been an agreement close, there's talks, anything like that. I think a lot of it has come from within, and it's funny that it's coming. A lot of the noise was coming post Ike game, you'd say, not really before the Ike game. You really saw it post Ike game because remember he rejected Olympiacos over us, or he did sign for us. So could it be a little bit of dirty media tricks or to unsettle us, anything like that? Quite possible.
To
Look, I
me,
think
to me, it resembles a kutsubalyo from the Choreo, all the theas getting together every afternoon. That's what it sounds like. Is a bunch of Greeks that are over analysing situation and coming up with some weird, wonderful stories and getting their own little likes on X or other social media platforms. That's just
Just
fun.
because there was one photo of him, there was one photo of him playing paddle or something that has gone into he wants out and everything. It's probably complete and utter nonsense, to be honest.
Unless we
probably.
say something from overseas, right?
Look, and I think I'm going to segue you nicely into our next topic, Sturge. But these are all good headaches in the grand scheme of things. They're all good headaches for Victoria to have. We haven't had this as a club for a very long time. Very different players in that more advanced role in the midfield, almost a 10 role. Unais versus Bakasetas, Tete versus Pelistri. Arao now up against, finally he's got genuine competition, more of a like for like in Meite. We've now got the emergence of Palmer Brown to put pressure on Jedvai. I like where we're heading as a squad.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah. And, there's talks about a midfield replacement to come in, but it doesn't look like he would be a replacement. It appears that there is an agreement between Panathinaikos and Benfica, which has come to hand that we have reached an agreement. I believe it is on loan for
Option.
the former bulk midfielder, Meite. Now, Meite was previously with bulk, solid defensive midfielder, solid. It's kind of probably the position we want a little bit more depth in my opinion. I think Adol has been good, but not great. I think he's just been a little bit prone to a couple of blunders and errors in his game. Just not as solid what last year's campaign, what he showed in that debut campaign. But Mete does come with a lot of Greek league experience, having played for PAOK and winning the championship. He last did play for PAOK, though he has not played any games for Benfica, where his parent club is. He's currently 30 years old. And he can play, yeah, he's more that defensive mid, and he can play as a centre back and that centre mid. So it looks like that will be happening. And he's scheduled to come to Greece in the next couple of days or so. Um, Good player, has a lot of experience. Has played in France, has played in Italy's Portuguese league. So, what do you boys think of that impending signing?
Huge fan. I like it. I like it. And I said we didn't have anyone. I liked Sedin as a player. Really, I really do. But I think he's again. We talk about the competition for spots. I see Sedin as the guy to battle Maximovic for a starting place. Not so much being back up to Aral. We needed more of a bigger body, and Meite fits that to a T. And the added bonus is he knows the Greek league very well because he won it last season at PAO, where he was a key player. And we copped that firsthand.
I'll be honest, I don't like it. I love it. Like this is genuinely like a signing that I think last summer was he? Am I right in saying he was linked with us last summer as well?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was, and I really wanted him last summer. We didn't get him, but this is the perfect signing. I'm telling you now. Arau's been a bit, shaky this season and stuff, so he's going to be on his toes, as well now. He could lose his pace to Meite if he's not careful, honestly. But this is a guy. The guy can run. He can play the 8. He can play the 6. He knows the Greek league. He was, in my opinion, fantastic for PAOK as well. Like one of their standout players at times, and he knows the Greek league, as we've said. To echo you there, guys, and he also knows Europe as well, like playing in Europe as well and stuff. He's played in European competitions. This is like literally, if I could probably on a list pick the box to box, or defensive midfielders to sign, he'd probably be top. It's a brilliant piece of business. Credit to I don't know how much our good old friend Papa Dimitriou is behind this, but if he is, a rare W from him.
I don't think
So I want to step in there if I may. Sorry, Sturge. Chris, I love your enthusiasm and energy, but I refuse to give Papa Dimitriou any credit.
There we go.
Because all of us can go on transfer market and search up PAOK's former players and just sign them, because that seems to be all we're doing at the moment. Although these players aren't bad in general, but as far as his transfer strategy is concerned, the guy gets 0 W's for me. So I am biased. Actually, no, I'm not biased. I speak fact. The guy's a loser. But anyway, the question I've got, so I'm maybe a little bit less enthusiastic about the signing. And I'll say that because he hasn't played any minutes for a good 6 months. It's actually more. It's probably 7, 8 months. He's going to take a while to get into shape and become match fit. He's not going to be ready until the playoffs, in my opinion. So if we've signed him to get him ready for playoffs and then have him as a cheap signing for the years ahead because Aral is going to go to Brazil, it makes sense. If we sign him as an instant backup for Aral, he's not that. He can't not play for 8 months and come in and be an instant backup. That's my view.
Yeah, yeah. There's solid points against against the signing. There's definitely agree with you, but having an extra body, a professional like him, does help. So I don't think he'll have instant impact. I definitely agree, but with the way the season's going, European competitions, everything like that, then the playoffs at the end, stuff like that. That's where you need those kind of players to step up. He'll be ready by then, and that's when we're going to need his presence in that team.
It's interesting. Chris touched on it before with Europe. Now, Viking or onwards, we can make up to maximum of 3 changes to our European squad. So we can have 3 go in, but 3 have to come out. If we're rumored to make 3 signings, including Meite, who's going to drop out?
But
yeah,
yeah, definitely.
For EPB
Maybe
one,
drop Kotiras out.
But then we haven't got another right back.
Then you drop Limnios. Is Limnios in it?
I can't remember.
But I
or
think
Mancini or something.
we need a minimum amount of Greek players, though. Don't we?
Greeks
Or
academy, yeah.
if you sign the striker, you choose one of the strikers to not go in, either
Jeremiah, yeah.
Jeremejeff or
Nah,
Swiderski or something.
You're better.
Oh,
Yeah, start. Sporter's on the European list. But
then yeah, he's going to go out.
and back to your point, we are kind of sort of becoming the new bulk. There's another bulk player, former bulk player linked to us, um, Swiderski. Now he's the former striker, went to the MLS, and he's doing pretty good there. If you look at his overall performances and stats, he's looking for a move to come to Europe. Obviously, nudging his agent to make a move back to Europe. Obviously, Panathinaikos is in desperate need of a striker, someone to fill the void of Fortis in that starting spot in games that he needs to rest. I don't think you can trust Jeff enough to start a game. Very good impact player. We've seen it, but not quality enough to start the game. That one does seem, according to Greek chatter, to have a little bit more legs on it. So it's that one's a watch this space sort of talk.
Sorry, guys, I've just seen Meite is coming this afternoon, apparently.
Okay.
According to the reliable Sport 24. So that's good news.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's on the football side. Now we're gonna go switch it up and we're gonna talk about the basketball side now. Panathinaikos did play 2 EuroLeague games since our American friends did the last pod. Both games in Spain, both disappointing losses. We do have a hoodoo against Barcelona. We did drop that 82-73. That one was a third quarter catastrophe, and Panathinaikos did also lose to Baskonia a few days later. That was due to a slow start, and we just never recovered. Now, we do have the Arxontas here, who were able to give us more insight into the basketball. As you can see, he's already got the new jersey. And he can kick off what he saw in this game, what he liked, what he didn't like from both games.
Starting with the Barcelona game, this game, I said it before. Look, I didn't necessarily think we were going to win. Barcelona are a good team. They're on good form, especially at home. They're tough to beat. So we've been playing well recently. Remember, we're very short-handed. We have injuries and stuff. So I'm going to cut the team a little bit of slack. But we had a great first half. Our game plan was working. But second half, we came out ice cold. Kendrick Nunn was forcing a lot of shots that he shouldn't have been forcing. It's difficult. He started off very cold and it just he never really got hot and stuff. And then this led to a lot of other people almost mimicking that, if you know what I mean. Overall, we turned the ball over a lot of times. I think there was 5 offensive possessions where we had 5 turnovers in a row. Barca scored every time from it. It took them a few minutes to lead. And then from then on, they had the momentum and stuff. And, once they pulled away, we weren't hot enough to really get back into the game. Osman was the only player who was really stepping up. And we managed to make it close-ish. It was like a 5-point game with a minute to go. But overall, I said, in the chat after that, I was like, you know what? Fine. We lost that, Okay. Move on to the next one. I'm going to accept it. I'm going to say, all right, fine, but you got to win the next one, And then we go to Baskonia and we had a shocking start, as you said, Sturge. We managed to catch up with them in the second quarter. We tied the game. But this is the problem with basketball sometimes. You need to be in control of the game to win often. And when we talk about the game from last night, I'm also going to mention that because we controlled that game. But Baskonia controlled the pace of the game completely. As soon as we tied it, they called timeout. Then they go on a 7-0 run. Okay. Then we get it back to a 2-point game again. They call timeout. They run again. They wanted it more. They were playing with a higher pace. Kendrick Nunn was ice cold again. And, a lot of people started to think, well, with Lasor out injured for a long time now, if none is cold like this, what are we going to do? And several times again in the second half, we brought it back to 2 to 3, but they just kept running again, Baskonia. It ended up being double digits, 14-point loss, which I'm going to be honest, was very disappointing. It was quite a bad collapse in that fourth quarter as well, because we actually made it close in that fourth quarter. We got it to 2 again. So the desire from the team wasn't there. They did not want to win that game as much as Baskonia, which was very unfortunate to see. To be honest, it was a game where you just kind of saw us losing the whole way throughout with the way they were playing. They were hitting threes. We weren't. We were turning the ball over stupidly. It was just a game where a terrible double week, to be completely honest, especially on the offensive end. We didn't even score 80 points. We were talking about how we were scoring 100 points all the time. We scored 73 and 77. So it was a bad double week. The Baskonia game was even worse. Yeah, that was not pretty at all. But yeah, we're going to need to bounce back now because Ataman said it last night. It's pivotal that we get top 4 because the Euroleague is tough. There's a chance we may need a game 5. Teams' records in game 5 away from home is not pretty in the Euroleague. We know we're going to need the OAKA, great atmosphere and stuff. And we're 6th now, I believe, or 4th, 5th, somewhere in that range. 5th maybe. Yeah, but anyways, point is we need to manage to get into that top 4. I'm not saying get top seed. It's unrealistic at this point. We're 3 games behind Olympiacos, so it may be difficult. But yeah, not a great double week, but we move, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, it's important to note, we are 5th, but we're equal points with 3rd and 1 game ahead of 10th.
So this is the thing now. If you we've got Žalgiris coming up on Thursday or Friday at home. I think you've got. I've looked at the schedule. The next 5 or something, you need to win 4 of those. You need to, because the EuroLeague. This is the thing with it, because there aren't actually many games in comparison to the NBA, but there's a lot of teams. At the end of the season, you could be 4th and be 1 game ahead of the play-in spots. So every game really matters. At home, especially now, Ataman said it last night, I think we've got 8 home games left. Those are all finals. They all have to be wins. I don't care who we play. To be honest, we're not even playing anyone. I'd say Olympiacos right now is the best team in the EuroLeague. We're not playing them. The hardest it gets is Real or Fener. We're not even playing Monaco. So to be honest, you need to win every home game now. That's my expectation.
Yeah. And obviously the big one in Greece last night or this morning in Australia, Panathinaikos, Olympiacos came away with the win. Someone remind me of the score on that one.
78-72, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, so that one, we did get the bad news that UT7 did come off with a fractured leg. Yeah, 78-72 was the score. UT7 came off with a fractured leg, 1 to 2 month injury that has been assessed. So not all positive news from that match, but we did obviously beat our most hated team, especially. So not just in the football, but in the basket as well, and that pulls us away 2 games over them in the Greek league. So that gives us breathing room. So if we want to rest any game, anything like that, just give all the starters the week off. That we can allow that, especially leading more closer to playoffs. But with that, this game we dominate from start to finish. Essentially, we just, as you said, Arxontas, we really controlled the game. Cedi Osman was great. One of his probably best games for us, I'd argue.
He's been on fire recently. He's been on fire. He's playing with so much confidence. I heard his post-game interview, smile on his face, and you can tell this guy is going to be a key part of our team now.
And Sulkas as well. Sulkas was very good as well.
I've got a stat for you about Slugas in that fourth quarter, actually. He was responsible for 15 of our 17 points. So that was, I think, 15 of our last 17, I think something like that. So that's huge. You need Slugas to be playing like Slugas if you're going to want to win the Euroleague or get to the Final Four again. But I'm not too concerned yet because last year he also had a slower start. But as you said, we pretty much dominated from start to finish. We had a little bit of a tough. There were moments where it was tough. Olympiacos did regain the lead, but overall, that game I was very, very proud of the team effort.
And we did it without, Lorenzo Brown, one of our star players that we
Six.
uh,
6 players, Sturge.
yeah. But, Lorenzo Brown was the big in that we brought in, but Vezenkov played pretty good for them, but Evan Fournier, the new Suvlazidico guy from the Gabri, did nothing, was held to 4 points. Yeah.
I heard he was getting a haircut during the game,
Yeah.
actually.
Fresh buzz. So yeah.
He's not a bad player, Fournier.
He's-
Yeah, okay,
No,
granted,
he's good. He's very good. He's very
he did
good.
nothing for us.
But
But Sluka loves being clutch against Olympiacos. Love to see.
when you need your star players to step up, he didn't, and that's what's going to be remembered in this match. He went missing. Yeah, out of the 3 games that we played him, he's done it twice now where he's gone missing. The other game in the EuroLeague was he came hot and on fire, but in the 2 Greek League games in the derby, especially in Seth and now at Waka in the Greek League, he's gone missing.
Further to your point earlier, Sturge, with us being able to rest players and that we got the 2 game buffer. Correct me if I'm wrong now. We've basically all but wrapped up like we had in last season, where if it's a first to 3, so out of 5, we get the home ground advantage now. It's basically locked.
Yeah, correct.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah. If we finish first, it's home ground.
It'll be like, so three at Oaka and 2 away. So Hiko.
Yeah. So that's why,
Yeah.
it was important to get the win here to just to lock that up. And like I said, it gives us that week buffer as well, where we're able to, if we need to rest players, we can do that. We can afford that.
And confidence.
also
Remember,
think-
there was that wild stat. What's the stat, Chris? How many times have we lost in the EuroLeague to them in a row? Whereas in the league, it's the opposite.
Too many, Nick. Too many.
But
We've
in the
lost.
league, we've got it over them recently. It's the other
I think-
extreme.
I'm pretty sure they're 12-0 against us in the EuroLeague right now. Something ridiculous like that. But yeah, in the league, it's now. If you're talking regular season,
one
it's
in a
6-0, 5-0, 5-0. Oh no, actually, wait. If you count the last 3 games from last year as well, we're technically 5-0 on them. I think.
That's going to be huge.
also-
It's got to help with the confidence going into this big run of games.
It will. I think we're gonna. I think, considering we're playing Žalgiris, who have actually been struggling lately. We're playing them on Thursday or Friday. To be honest, I don't want to sound too cocky, but I'm expecting a statement win there. I think we're going to play very well. I think this game is huge for our confidence as well because the whole thing was since Lesour went down, we hadn't beaten a top team yet. You could argue Bayern on the road, but still they're not super experienced and stuff. But this was a top team that we beat. Ataman said it; they're the best team in Europe right now in the EuroLeague. And we beat them. And you know what? We did it convincingly, with a lot of players missing.
Yeah, no, that's a good shout. That's a good shout. But yeah.
And another thing, at some point in this game, we had, I think it was for a few minutes in the second quarter, we had Nan, Slukas, Kalaitzakis, Grant, and Papapetru as our starting 5. So that's, shows you the injury issues right now, and the fact that we still pulled away with the win is just huge for our confidence.
No, that's that's a lot of positives to take out of this morning's basketball game, considering the rough Spanish trip. But yeah, it does look like the owners meeting with the Lanua did happen, and it was rumored that he may or may not go, but Fools did end up going there. But it looks like with everything pointing that Meite is on his way. So see how long it takes for him to adjust and get into that squad. But apart from that, boys, I think we've done a good job just bringing the news to our fans, and great to have Chris on board to show the international base that we do have. The community that we've just created, where we encourage people to talk, give us your opinions, even on socials. Just give us opinions, feedback, shout outs, everything like that. But
Good
yeah,
to have the Arxontas and his opinions. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me on, guys. Very, very fun.
thank you for covering the basketball. Very much
Of
appreciated. As
course.
well as
Of
giving
course.
the football opinions as well. But
Yeah.
as always, gentlemen, we do have the derby this week, so let's hope that
Predictions?
I don't want to give predictions for the. I think I won't be too discouraged with a draw. I think draw. I think both teams you can argue would be happy with a draw. They won't be too disheartened with a draw, but a loss for either team, I think is gonna have major impact. A loss for either team, that is, even if Olympiacos lose, they're gonna have in the back of their mind they've got two derbies to go. So it's something.
Score draw, this one screams, honestly.
So we have a lot more to win, and we've got a lot to lose as well. So that's how I see it.
It's
Anyway,
going to be a pressure cooker. I hope our guys are ready. I hope Victoria learns from the cup game. Both sides rotated, as we said, but I hope he's picked up some key points in that and he's able to improve a few things and get us going for this one. We'll wait and see who the ref is. Hopefully our players don't get dragged into anything. As you said, Sturge, I think in the chat, pressure's on their fans to behave.
Yeah.
As well.
See their comments like Riazupoli, things like that, but they're not going to do anything like that. Especially how strict the Greek league has been when it comes to fan behavior. The pressure will be on their fans, but I don't expect any incidents. But yeah,
we're going to go through 1,000 different emotions in that 90 minutes. I think it's going to be very, 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 very intense.
You say 90 minutes, but if we're up 1-0, it will be 110 minutes.
Okay, vale, yeah.
And just for context, that game will be played on Sunday night in Greece time at 8:30 p.m. local time. Not too sure about the other time zones, but in Australia or Sydney and Melbourne, it will be played Monday morning, 5:30 a.m. Which bodes well. If you're in Australia, it is a public holiday that day as well. So that bodes well. But check your time zones for when that will be playing in your area. Panatha Fan looks like he dropped, but gentlemen, I think unless you've got anything else to raise, I think you're about to say something.
I saw before they've done the cup for the basketball. I'm not sure where it's played. They've done it looks like the quarters, semis, and final.
We've got Betty Steady, and then,
Yeah.
to be honest, I don't remember. All I know is we're going to be playing Olympiacos again in the final.
Olympiacos in the final, and they play PAOK or AIK, the winner of PAOK AIK, in their semi. It's like mid-February.
Yeah, it always is.
The Greek league in basketball is like a pushover.
Yeah.
Thing. It's just really the two teams.
Partly because we're both so strong as well, to be fair. This is...
But yeah. All right. I think we can wrap it up there, gents. Like I said, well, thank you, Arxontas, for joining in. And
no, thank you. Thank you very much.
Listeners for listening in. Don't forget to share, give feedback, everything like that. I think there is obviously something before we close it up. Something I wanted to dedicate as well. especially to our AIK fans as well. I'm not too sure if you'll be able to
I
do it.
joined Snap Fitness in February 20.
I'll just get it ready. Can you hear that? Oh,
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I can hear it.
yeah. I think we can leave it at that. What we think of the AIK less. Gentlemen, it was a pleasure. Thank you.